Y'all, we have to talk about something serious. There are so many illegals here in Yuma, Arizona. Did you know that?
I did.
And no, we're not talking about
Those
illegals. You might have seen YouTube videos, even some of ours, about how awesome it is to move to Mexico. But we moved to Mexico almost 4 years ago now, and things have definitely changed.
Gone are the days when you can pack up all of your things and just cross the border and move to Mexico.
Without a care in the world. That's what we did. We didn't even have a backup plan, actually, when we moved.
No. But we did do it legally. We did obtain all of the necessary paperwork before crossing the border.
And now, illegals who have been crossing into Mexico without getting an FMM for years here in Yuma are freaking out because the border wait times to get into Mexico are upwards of 2 hours.
That's more than 10 times is what it was before. We even have video footage of us crossing the border, 5 minutes. Sometimes even when we were stopped, you're talking 15 minutes tops. And that's with them going through our whole van and everything. Now, 2 hours plus, depending on which border you cross.
Yeah, it depends on the border you cross. It depends on the day. It also depends on if you're walking or driving. The driving has not been as slow as walking across. Used to, you could just walk across without a wait a lot of times. And now they're saying even whenever it's not usually as busy, it's taking upwards of 2 hours because everyone is being stopped and asked to fill out paperwork to get their FMM.
FMMs, the visitor's visa, has been required to enter Mexico since 2015. That's a decade. And yet, people here have been crossing without obtaining an FMM for that long.
And even though they're okay with being illegals, we want to make sure that you understand Mexico is not only requiring the FMM like they always have, they're now enforcing it. Fortunately / unfortunately, because I had to gather data for this video, I can only see about half or less of the comments in the local Yuma groups because I have hundreds of humans blocked. However, I did grab some screenshots. We're going to pop them up on the screen, but they're losing their minds. Line leaving Los Algodones is an hour or more. Visitors may be asked to fill out a form before proceeding through customs. And what they're talking about is going into Mexico. The pedestrian entrance at Los Algodones was backed up to the second set of stairs at 9 a.m. Decided not to go since it looked like it would take an hour or more to get in.
Just so you guys know, Los Algodones is in Mexico. Port of Andrade is in California, but they're either side of the border.
And here's another comment. I love these. For anyone going into Algodones, you now need a Mexican visitor visa to get in starting today. FYI, do your homework. It costs $43 and lasts 180 days only.
Obtaining an FMM is not guaranteed that you will get 180 days. That's the max that you can get on an FMM. And you can obtain it online before you go. We recommend that you do.
You do have to get it stamped as you enter Mexico, whether you got it online or you get it in Mexico. Now, one of the things that a lot of people are not understanding is in most cases, an FMM is only a single entry. So getting an FMM for 180 days just for a day or a week-long visit doesn't make any sense. The way that it's being discussed in the groups, they're saying, hey, go get 180 days and you can make as many trips back and forth as you want to. And that's not how an FMM works. You need to get a temporary residency card if you want to stay for an extended period of time or just be able to go back and forth as you please. So, did I bury the lead on that one yet? Okay. Without further ado, we have an announcement to make. I got my temporary residency card, and so did Sapphire, for 4 years of temporary residency. Then we'll do another year of permanent residency, and then we will apply for our Mexican citizenship. Let's talk about a few more posts. Lines to get into Mexico are more than an hour long. This is unheard of, unprecedented, and nobody in the groups seemed to understand why. The reason it's so long to go in, the reason that Mexico is finally enforcing their FMM that has been in place for a decade is because
tariffs. It's because of the tariffs.
It's because of the threat of tariffs. And the reason I say it that way is because when I told people in the groups that it was because of tariffs, they came back, oh, there's not tariffs, there's another month delay, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. The ball has already started rolling. The genie is out of the bottle. All of this stuff that is happening, it's going to keep happening no matter how long the tariffs are delayed. And we experienced another unprecedented thing on our last trip to Mexico on the way back in.
On the way back into the U.S., before we got to the Mexico-U.S. border, our car, they did random searches. 3+ years of going to Mexico, we've never seen the Mexican side do random car searches. We were actually pulled over, told to get out, and they searched our entire car. We don't have any issues with that. We don't bring anything to or from the U.S., so it wasn't an issue, but it is something that is happening now that wasn't happening before. So that makes the time coming back into the U.S., which was already a long wait, even longer, because the Mexican Border Patrol can pull you over, inspect your vehicle. Then you go up to the border, and then the U.S. CBP or whoever will also have the opportunity to inspect your vehicle as well.
And it was a very short time in between the inspections. So the Mexican customs searched us right before, like literally a moment before we went to the border to get inspected by the U.S. side of things. And they were pulling over a lot of cars into secondary. It wasn't like one every 50 cars. It was pull one over, search them, send them on, pull another over. Like we were pulling in as the other car, we got pulled into secondary as the other car was pulling off. And then right behind us, another car getting pulled into secondary. And that's happening at all of the borders from everything we've heard from those traveling back and forth. And in true human fashion, we've got some more comments. It seems that it's disrupting the illegals' shopping sprees. I read earlier that the wait was over 2 hours long. I sent an inquiry to the Mexican entry portal, and they told me a card for 7 days was $89, but I can enter daily for free. I have friends who want to go, but we don't want to pay to shop there. We have family in town, and we were thinking of going to Mexico tomorrow to shop. The family member was told that he could cross with only his driver's license. Is this still true? That's another good thing to address, because no, you have always needed a passport to get into and out of Mexico. It's just that some people feel the rules don't apply to them and they never got caught or the rules weren't enforced.
So to obtain the visitor's visa, the FMM, you do need your passport. So make sure you obtain that before you apply online or before you go to cross the border.
This is definitely affecting a lot of the medical tourism in Mexico, because now people are like, well, I don't want to wait 2 hours to go across the border. And there's a screenshot will pop up here from The Art of Dentistry. It says, dear patients, please take your time to arrive to your appointment, since as of today, Thursday, March 6th, a permit to enter our country, Mexico, has been implemented. It is free of charge and only consists of filling out a document. Now, this is partially true. It's always been implemented, but now it's being enforced.
If you want to cross the border for 1 day, or you're going there just for medical tourism, like you want to get your dental work done there or your eyeglasses, if you're crossing for 1 day, the FMM, the visitor's pass, is free. It doesn't cost you any money to do that for 1 day.
And I feel like I'm on a bit of a tirade, but I have to
feel like you're on a bit? You are. Go for it.
I have to add another comment here. Christy says, do you know if we need this now to go to Algodones, even for an eye checkup, dental, or meds, and only staying for an hour or two? What do you think they would say if there were Mexicans wanting to come in
Just for an hour or two.
Just for an hour.
Just to go shopping.
Go to, eat at Golden Corral. Enjoy the beauty of Yuma for just a few hours. The Mexicans want to come over and cross the border and get a little FMM pass for, a day. And what would you say to that, Yuma? Actually, we know what they've said to that because there have been protests and tons of people saying that they don't want any Mexicans here. So,
yeah, they even threatened to run over the protesters with their trucks.
Yes, and these protesters were peaceful, holding signs, funny signs, some of them saying, I don't want any ice in my horchata. But they were protesting the ICE deportations because they're snatching up people who are here legally as well as illegally. They don't care, and we know that. But this is like top tier hypocrisy. Oh, I have to obtain a pass to go to Mexico? Yes, that's the rule. That's the law that you have to follow.
You want to enforce the imaginary borderline, then you need to abide by the rules set forth by the country on the other side. They have to abide by the rules that are set forth by the U.S. in order to enter, or they're considered illegals. Then you should abide by the rules that their country sets as well.
Thank you for tuning in to my TED Talk of ranting about illegals in Yuma. If you tuned in to see about moving to Mexico, it's not impossible, but it is a lot more difficult.
So just realize you can't just pack up everything like we did and just drive to the border. Like I said, we did it legally, but you can't just pack up and go. You're going to have to plan a little bit more. You're going to have to figure out timing more than anything else at this point.
And a backup plan. If you, I was reading comments yesterday of somebody in the Ensenada expat group, and they were saying they're going to sell their house, pack up everything they own, and drive down with their van and a trailer and move to Mexico. What happens if you get there and they deny you for your FMM request, or you request 180 days and they say you can have 14? You've got to have a backup plan. You can't just pack everything up and head for the border like a lot of us did. So pay attention when people are giving you advice. There's a lot of bad advice going on around right now. Check the Mexican website, and also realize that even if the Mexico website, the official government website, says one thing, something else might happen at the border. It is the wild, wild west whenever you're getting into Mexico, and things don't always go as they are supposed to. So we hope that you are able to move to Mexico if you want to, but remember, always have a backup plan. And we still think it's a great idea. We are heading back to Mexico very soon. But until our next video, are you going to say it?
Are we going to say stay smiley?
I thought it was keep smiling.
Keep smiling. That was it.
Okay, so until next time,
keep smiling.